Hello, my name is Divine Joseph Benjamin, and I will be your speaker today. So, just for a quick second, I want you to just close your eyes and imagine chaos. Imagine the government is being overthrown, people are being shot left and right, people are now being imprisoned, women are becoming sex slaves, and they are becoming more inferior to men, known as commanders. If you would just open your eyes for a second and just think about what TV show, what movie does that sound like? And a lot come to mind. But one in particular that comes to mind for me is The Handmaid's Tale. The Handmaid's Tale has a lot of action and a lot of drama that comes into the show. And basically, I want to talk to you about this show because it's educational for our mainstream society. And in this presentation, we will be looking at the origin of the show, as well as the characters and their relationships, as well as concepts that are explained throughout the show. So, The Handmaid's Tale was originally a novel that was published in 1985 by Margaret Atwood. The novel takes place in future New England in a totalitarian theocracy, which has overtaken the United States government. Shortly, not too long after, in the year 2017, the book was turned into a TV show that was premiered on Hulu. Some of the characters that we are going to discuss are Alfred, the Commander Waterford, Serena Joy, Moira Nick, Offglyn, Cora, Janine, Alfred's mother, and Rita. This is just a list of all the characters that are depicted in the show. And with each character, they play various roles. So for Alfred, she's the main character, and she belongs to the class of the handmaids. Commander Waterford is the head of the Waterford household, and he is also a very important commander. He is one of the highest commanders in his region, in his section. Serena Joy is Commander Waterford's wife, and she worked in pre-Gilead as a gospel singer and then as an anti-feminist activist and crusader for traditional values. So when we're talking about traditional values, we're discussing that same mentality of the women stay at home and the men go out and make money, make the bacon. Moira is Alfred's best friend from college. And Moira is very different from the other handmaids in that she is a lesbian and a staunch feminist. She embodies resourcefulness and independence. Nick is Alfred's on again, off again lover, but their love is forbidden. And he is a guardian, which is a low-level officer of Gilead who is assigned to the commander's home, where he works as a gardener and a chauffeur. We then meet Offglyn, another handmaid who is Alfred's shopping partner and a member of Mayday, an underground group. We'll later go on to what Mayday is later on in the presentation. Cora works as a servant in the commander's household, so specifically in Commander Waterford's household, and she belongs to the class of the Marthas. Janine met Alfred at the Red Center, and after becoming a handmaid and having a child, she becomes envious and wants to keep her daughter. In that particular story, Janine is very different from the other handmaids as well. She has sort of like a childlike mentality, and she basically gets obsessed with the idea of her commander and herself being in a relationship, knowing that that is something that is forbidden. And when she does conceive a child for her commander, she starts to grow feelings for her daughter. She starts to have this love that usually, typically, most parents have when they first have a child. And when she realizes that she cannot keep her daughter, she does everything in her power to sort of take back that authority of being a parent. But unfortunately, it doesn't work out in her favor, being that the handmaids don't necessarily have a relationship with the children that they are conceiving. Lastly, second to lastly, we have Offred's mother. Offred's mother was a single mother and a feminist activist. And Offred's mom plays a huge role in a lot of the ideals and values that Offred shares. She believes that the way that her mother taught her and raised her is a big reason as to why she's fighting and why she's, doing everything in her power to get out of her situation while she's in Gilead. Lastly, we have Rita. She's also a Martha and or a domestic servant in the commander's house. As you can see here, these are just some of the characters. Here is Janine. Here's Commander Waterford and his wife. This is Offred. This is Moira. This is Offglyn. And this is Nick. So the handmaids are fertile women forced to bear children for elite baron couples. So in Gilead, the handmaids are given specific names to show ownership to which commander they belong to. So for example, in the state of Offred's name, her name is of Fred. So you take of and the first name of the commander to create the name of the handmaid. In the show, the handmaids are necessarily considered to be the feminists of Gilead. The Marthas are infertile women who do not qualify for the high status of wives and work in domestic roles. They are maids of the household. So typically, they're either too old, or they already have children of their own, or they can't conceive. So they give them other opportunities to serve themselves in Gilead. The aunts are a class of women assigned to indoctrinate the handmaids with the beliefs of the new society and make them accept their fates, being that their fate is they now live in Gilead, they are now handmaids, this is now their prospective job. They're considered to be the anti-feminists, and they are the ones who teach the handmaids how to behave and interact in the new world. From the way that they dress to the way that they speak to, they're basically relearning how to live in society all over again, but through the teachings of Gilead. The Jezebels are women who are used as prostitutes. They are used to entertain the commanders, and this class of system is forbidden. But the commanders find a way to, bend the rules a little bit. Next, we're going to talk about Mayday versus Gilead. So Mayday is a anti-Gilead group. They believe that they seek to overthrow Gilead and want things to go back to the way that things were before Gilead overthrew the U.S. government. They strive to move Gilead out of power, and then at the same time, men and women are still seen as equal. On the other hand, you have Gilead, who seeks to create a whole new world, and they believe in the Bible for its literal meaning. It's a society that's controlled by men, and women are seen as inferior beings. So women are not supposed to speak out towards their husbands. They're not supposed to speak up in any of the lawmaking, law-abiding ceremonies, any type of meetings, or in that, so to speak. And they also believe that the way of the old world is impure. So anything that was of the old world, like reading certain books, listening to certain music, wearing certain clothes, is just a no. Now we're going to talk about the relationships amongst certain characters within the show. So first we have Offred and the commander, and their relationship is really complicated. The commander sort of has a crush on Offred because of the fact that Offred has the opportunity to give him something that he's always wanted, which is a child. Serena Joy, who is the Commander Waterford's wife, she can't necessarily have children, and that's where the handmaids come into play. And because of the fact that has the ability to produce this gift to the commander, he sort of falls for her. He starts to have like a love relationship with her. He wants to build a relationship with her, even though he knows that it's forbidden. The crazy thing about their relationship is that Offred kind of uses this relationship to her advantage to get information so that, she can kind of figure out certain things about the commander and what's going on in Gilead so that she can kind of, maneuver her way through Gilead. Next, we have Offred and Nick, and their relationship is also complicated as well, because of the fact that, when she first met Nick, she thought that he was a spy in her house who was put there to watch her, to basically make sure that she was doing everything that she was supposed to be doing correctly. And they were forced together by Serena Joy because of the fact that Commander Waterford was necessarily unsuccessful in the ceremony with Offred. So Serena Joy decides to basically have them have sex. And after they've been intimate, they start to build a relationship with one another. Her love for Nick becomes so strong that she is willing to risk everything to leave Gilead. Their relationship is forbidden as well and cannot be found out by Serena or the commander. So if anyone was to find out about their relationship, they would, one, be separated, two, most likely they would be killed, and three, they would definitely be exiled. One of the three would happen. Now we're going to talk about the main ideas of the show. One of the main ideas that comes up is rape and sexual violence. So rape is justified by depicting it as a celebration rather than calling it what it is. Women are forced to have sex once a month with their commanders against their will. This is also known as the ceremony, and in the ceremony, like it said, the commander and the handmaid meet once a month to be intimate. The commanders and the aunts claim that they are better off in Gilead, but are harming these women into doing sexual acts. Another main idea that is brought up is religious terms used for politics. So before the ritual takes place, the commander reads this translation from the Bible, from Genesis 30, 1 through 5. And it reads, "And when Rachel saw she bare Jacob no children, Rachel envied her sister and said unto Jacob, Give me children, or else I die. And Jacob's anger was kindled against Rachel, and he said, I am in God's stead. Who hath withheld from thee the fruit of the womb? And she said, Behold my maid Belilah. Go in unto her, and she shall bear upon my knees, that I may also have children by her. And she gave him Belilah, her handmaid, to wife. And Jacob went unto her, and Belilah conceived, and bare Jacob a son." So in the ritual and a lot of the politics and policies that take place in Gilead, they use Bible scriptures as literal meaning to justify a lot of the things that they do. In Gilead, children are a major value. They are similar to the Nazi in that they are creating a new era of children born into Gilead. Children being born into Gilead are precious like prized possessions. The birth of any child in Gilead is a celebration, but the ones who get left out are the handmaids. They are not given similar treatment to the wives of the commanders who are supposedly the birth mothers. Handmaids are to be with the baby up until she heals from birth, so that's approximately 3 months after the child is born. Alfred had difficulty getting pregnant for quite some time, and Serena, who is the commander's wife, realizes that the issue of infertility is not the fault of Alfred, but of the commander. And this is when she suggested that she have sex with Nick to produce a child. The infertility issue is placed on the women most of the time in Gilead rather than putting it on the men. And a lot of the times it's not even the women's fault. It's sometimes the men have something to do with infertility. That was the end of my presentation. I would like to thank you for listening to my explanation of The Handmaid's Tale. I hope that you got a lot of information out of this presentation and you're interested in watching. Thank you.